Oh hi. Bordeaux, the city and the commune in the southwest of France, the center of the historic area of Aquitaine and modern department Gironde. It is located on the coast of Gironde, known for the traditions and achievements in the field of winemaking. The population totals about 256,000 people. 2016. The population of Bordeaux is 256,000 people. Together with numerous suburbs, agglomeration of the city totals about 796,000 people. That puts it on the 5th place among the cities of France. In national structure, the French prevail. They are Spaniards, generally Basques. But the number of immigrants from countries of Eastern Europe, including from Moldova, Belarus, Ukraine, grows recently, and it is a little from the countries of Africa and the Arab countries. Bordeaux climate moderate and warm. Soft seaside, characteristic Shirkalistanichny. The winter is soft, rainy and quite warm, summer solar and moderately hot. Winters are almost always snowless, seldom daytime temperature falls lower than 0. The history of the city lives in the 1st century BB when on the left coast of Gironde the Celtic tribes of Bicharig located. One of tribes called by Vibisca had the center in Bordeaux, the direct predecessor Bordeaux. In the 1st century BB the city was conquered by Julius Caesar, and his successors made it the capital of the Aquitania Gallia. The antique city was described in the compositions by the local Assini. In the Middle Ages the English kings from a dynasty Plantagenetat, Angevin House, became the Dukes of Aquitaine. Gascon. With their receipt Bordeaux changed. New buildings were built, the Cathedral of St. André is expanded, the Bordeaux winemaking developed. British very much fell in love with claret wine, and since then it was exported in large numbers from Maddox and Lafite to the foggy Albion. Upon termination of Centenary War of Bordeaux was a part of France and lost the liberties granted by the English crown. In the 18th century, thanks to blossoming of triangular trade with America, the welfare returned to the city. In 1746 the city's mayor Marquis de Tournai promised to make Bordeaux one of the most beautiful cities of the French kingdom. The downtown was changed according to the principles of classicism. The interests of the local bourgeoisie during the revolution were represented by party of Girondists. The fate of the glorified Montaigne's thinkers and Montesquieu are inseparably linked with a name of the city. Bordeaux value continued to grow with expansion of the French colonial ownerships. The main part of trade with the mother country went through Bordeaux. Escaping from the German invasions, the French government and parliament stayed in Bordeaux in 1870, 1871 and fall of 1914. In 1940, when forces of Wehrmacht approached Paris, the French government took refuge in Bordeaux already for the 3rd time. In the years of war the city several times was exposed to bombings. From 1940 to 1943 Royal Naval Forces of Italy had base of the Bettissime submarines in the port of Bordeaux. The Italian submarines were involved in the Battle of Atlantic, leaving this base. Bunkers of Bettissime base in 1943 began to use also the German submarines as the port of registry of the 12th Flotilla of submarines Kriegsmarine. After war, the massive reinforced concrete bunker is problematic to be demolished, and now it is partially used as the cultural center for holding exhibitions. Sites:
Bordeaux, called the harbor of the half moon or the port of the moon for a graceful bend of the wide Garonne River, which waters divide the city into two coasts, right and left.
A historical part of Bordeaux is the left coast, where were stretched quarter of Saint Peter, Saint Mihiel, the areas of the Comedy and Kenkins, the Cathedral Street Andrew. The town planning ensemble of the Port of the Moon is considered a standard of building of times of early classicism. In 2007, this part of the city was included in the UNESCO World Cultural Heritage List. The main directions of economic activity in Bordeaux are concentrated in the sphere of trade and services. Popular belief that the city of Bordeaux is the world wine capital. In close proximity to Bordeaux, there are large-scale winemaking enterprises with the set of names of wines of Bordeaux, among which there are both the most known in the world, and ordinary wines is made. In the neighborhood of Bordeaux, about 14000 producers of wines work, under vineyards 117,514 hectares are occupied, and 400 trading companies have turnover 14.5 billion euros. Annual production of wines of the extra quality in Massachusetts wines make 700 million bottles. Here white and red wines are produced. From color of local wine, which at Peter I was called, there is the Russian epithet, claret. Red wines are produced from grapes of grades of Cabernet Sauvignon, Merlot, Cabernet Franc, Verdot, Malbec here, and also insignificant quantity of a Carmenère.
White wines of Bordeaux produced from grades Sauvignon Blanc, Semillon and Muscatel.
The winemaking region of Bordeaux is divided into 5 areas: Antidimer, Libourne, Vril, Bly, Grave, Tigues. The most known terroirs are Saint-Emilion, Puig, Saint-Estève, Sauternes and Pomerol. Official classification of wines of Bordeaux is put into operation in 1855, and its long firmness is challenged by various critics and producers of wines.
Now winemakers of Bordeaux endure the period of the relative crisis, which came because of the severe international competition and falling of the prices of wine.
The number of producers of wines was significantly laid off in recent years. Bordeaux is also the industrial city. In the industrial sector of economy of Bordeaux, the largest employer is the enterprise of the American automobile concern Ford. In the city there is also an enterprise for production of car tires of the French Michelin Group. In spite of the fact that industry Bordeaux experienced significant decline in the last decades, the city could affirm repeatedly as the national leader as the innovation technologies, especially as the aviation industry. Bordeaux with the suburbs is the large industrial center in spheres of aircraft industry, space and defense, taking in France the second place after Toulouse. In these industries 200,000 residents of Bordeaux work and 800 more people are engaged at outsourcing. In the territory of Bordeaux and its vicinities, the enterprises of the companies Dassault Aviation, Safran SA, the former Snecma, Eads and Thales are placed. On the outskirts of Bordeaux assemble the Falcon planes, cabins for Airbus, starting accelerators of rockets of Ariane, and also carrier rockets M for guided underwater missile cruisers.
The laser megajoule project is constructed on the outskirts of Bordeaux, in La Barpe. He takes the leading place in the French program of updating of nuclear weapons and cost to the Ministry of Defense of France about €2 billion.
The enterprises of the chemical and pharmaceutical industries. For example, Sanofi. And also the enterprises of the food sector, in particular spheres of production of wines and hard alcoholic beverages are provided to Bordeaux. For example, Marie Brizard, Pernod Ricard. Of course, it is necessary to mention production of the Bordeaux wines, the sector in which some farms are comparable with large production enterprises. In the city, the headquarters of Fayette Group is located. The industrial activity is also provided to Bordeaux in branches of shipbuilding. Shipbuilding shipyards of Bordeaux. Processings, chemical production and metallurgy. On the right coast of Garonne, the shipyard of Signy, producer of expensive cruise yachts, is located. Service sector. The tertiary sector of economy holds a leading position in the capital of Aquitaine, in many respects thanks to commercial attractiveness and a binding of services to the various industry. About 80% of all able-bodied population of the city are engaged in the service industry. Having 180 enterprises of the banking sector in the territory, Bordeaux is the fourth banking center of France.
The branch of tourism is here on rise as Bordeaux has rich historical property and also serves as a starting point for visit of the oceanic coast of Aquitaine and internal areas where rural tourism is especially strongly developed.
The city of Bordeaux is also the important port center in France. According to the statistics, annually the seaport of Bordeaux accepts 1,600 vessels and serves about 9 million tons of freights, including 4.1 million tons of hydrocarbons. To seaport of Bordeaux there arrive components of airliners from where they are transported to Toulouse. The Bordeaux annually accepts about 2.5 million tourists from the different countries. Also, Bordeaux is the second intermediate stop of the cruise liners traveling along the Atlantic coast of Europe. In Bordeaux there is a modern tram network. It is opened on December 21, 2003 by the President of France Jacques Chirac, CS Bordeaux Tram. Also in the city there are 65 bus routes. In addition to day buses, at night in Bordeaux start a night route No. S. This bus plies between Victoria Square and the most lively place where fans of discos, Quai de la Palude, gather. It is possible to reach Bordeaux from Paris by trains TEV in only 2 hours 4 minutes. Historical and cultural heritage. In Bordeaux, magnificent objects of natural and architectural heritage are kept.
A considerable part of the historic center in 2007 is included in the UNESCO World Cultural Heritage List as a unique city and architectural complex of the Age of Enlightenment,
under the name of Port of the Moon. Nicknamed Sleeping Beauty, Bordeaux is ranked in France as the cities of arts and history. It takes in France the second place by quantity of historical monuments, after Paris. As a result, in Bordeaux, one of the largest in the country of the protected zones of cultural heritage, 150 hectares. Being guided by reasons of preserving of historical heritage, the tram network of Bordeaux on the most part of routes in the downtown uses l'antiquarium. At the beginning of the 19th century, 1813, Bordeaux was the only city in France, apart from the capital, where there were 4 theatres. Here constantly such Parisian stars as the Talma, Merzem, Brown went on tour. The Volans family, the rich city, was able to pay their fees.
In spite of the fact that often Bordeaux is associated with the 18th and 19th centuries, this city is also very modern.
The center of the modern plastic art. Cap. Up to 1995 was the largest in France. After Paris, the place of promotion of the modern art.
In the same time, the architectural center Arc en Rive remains the most important center of distribution to provinces of the progressive architectural and town planning ideas.
In the musical circle of Bordeaux, the famous French rock group No Desir, or hip-hop the Les Nubians group, was born. The Museum of Fine Arts of Bordeaux belongs to a number of the oldest museums of France, than the completeness and a variety of its collections, in particular works of the 19th and 20th centuries, speaks. Many provided masterpieces are owned by the state, including the Duchess Angoulême Sales from Poyc, Gros works, Hunting for Lions, of Delacroix, Brusher, Beater, of a Brush of Gervais. Also in a collection of the museum there are Rubens, Veronese, Titian, Van Dyck, Corot, Bouguereau, Guérin, Matisse's cloths, Dufy and Picasso. Museum of Aquitaine. The museum inherited collections of the former Museum Lapidarium, which was opened by Academy of Sciences of Bordeaux about 1783 according to the order of the quartermaster Dupré de Saint-Maur, for consolidation of the ancient Roman fragments found in the course of the considerable town planning works undertaken in the 16th century and, in particular, in the 18th century.
Since 1962, the museum is transformed to the Museum of Regional History, Archaeology and Ethnography.
Objects of a prehistoric era, the Roman antiquity and an early Christian era from the settlement of Bordeaux, a collection of exhibits of the Middle Ages, an ethnographic collection and other are provided to its exposures.
Also collections of the former museum Goupillia where images on various carriers are provided or transferred to the museum.
Museum of Arts and Crafts.
The museum is placed in the mansion of Hotel de Lalande, constructed in 1779 for the Deputy of Parliament Pierre de Raymond Lalande.
Magnificent collections of objects of the French decorative art, and in particular the Bordeaux, 18th and 19th centuries, including a collection of pictures, engravings, miniatures, sculptures are provided to furniture to exposures of the museum, the Bordeaux ceramics, glass and jewelry. Natural History Museum of Bordeaux.
In the residential building of the 18th century, which is in the city Bordeaux Park, the Natural History Museum, where the thematic exposures supplementing exhibits from permanent collections are regularly updated, is located.
Museum of Modern Art. Earlier center of the modern plastic arts of Bordeaux.
In the former grain warehouse there is a Museum of Modern Art of Bordeaux, in which meeting exhibits from the end of the 1960th years and are provided so far.
In a collection there are over 1,000 works of 140 masters. In one of magnificent wings on the area of Place de la Bourse, the National Museum of Customs Service, which exposure tells about history of customs affairs in France and also about tasks of divisions of this service, is located.
The Information Center devoted to events of World War II represents to attention of visitors various documentary evidences of that era for preserving the memory of the tragic period of history, and tells about feats of participants of a resistance movement. The ethnographic museum formed at the end of the 19th century has the extensive collections devoted to public and spiritual life of Africa, Asia and Oceania.
Museum of Companionnaise. In museum collection about 500 exhibits showing the history of education companionnaise and also lives of workers in Bordeaux and adjacent areas are provided. The Museum of the Bordeaux Wine and Wine Trade was opened on June 26, 2008 in the quarter of Chartres. Collections of the museum are placed in 3 wine cellars which are partially underground.
The historical objects telling about development of art of trade and wine in Bordeaux since the medieval Bordeaux privilege are provided to exposures and up to our days.
Complete process from work in wine warehouses before shipment of products is provided. The Museum Goupil, the Parisian dynasty of the art publishers working from 1827 to 1920 supports in the meeting funds of family. Exposure is divided into 3 parts: prints, pictures and archives. The museum is located in the building of Old Central Telephone Exchange of Chartres, which was put into operation in 1958 with a capacity of 3,000 lines, then expanded to 5,000 lines, and in 1983 stopped its operation. For around a year based on submarines, various events are held. Temporary exposures, concerts, lyrical performances, jazz sessions, theatrical and dancing performances. HAP Sciences. Scientific and Technical and Industrial Center.
The HAP Sciences Center, located at the end of embankments, has the large site of 650 square meters where there takes place the large annual exhibition, and also the site of 200 square meters where temporary exposures are arranged.
Institute of Culture of Bernard Mager.
It is located in De La Bottière Hotel.
Here works of masters of the past and the present are provided. Cervantes Institute. This apartment, known before under the name Casa de Goya, is located on the handout Cours de l'Intendance in the center of a historical part of the city. These apartments became the last residence of the artist Francisco Goya, who moved to Bordeaux in 1824, escaping from autocracy of the Spanish King Ferdinand VII. Here he died in 1828. Now here the Spanish Cultural Center in Bordeaux is placed and works of the master are provided. Future town of wine culture is designed to become the sign place in Bordeaux and this gate in the Bordeaux vineyards. Opening is planned for 2016.
The Cathedral of the Archdiocese of Bordeaux is executed in Gothic style and classified in 1862 as a National Historical Monument.
In December 1998, the cathedral is included in the UNESCO World Cultural Heritage List. St. Michel's Basilica. Constructed in style of the Burning Gothic style, the church is classified in 1846 as a National Historical Monument. In December 1998, the basilica is included in the UNESCO World Cultural Heritage List. Basilica Saint-Saurin. The church is classified in 1840 as a National Historical Monument. In December 1998, the basilica is included in the UNESCO World Cultural Heritage List. Street Croix Church. This church, constructed in Romance style, was before monastic church of Benedictine Abbey. The church is classified in 1840 as a National Historical Monument. St. Paul Church. The church is constructed in Baroque style in the 17th century and classified in 1997 as a National Historical Monument. Gardens and Parks. According to the statistics, about 15 square meters of green territories are the share of each inhabitant Bordeaux.
The municipality seeks to raise this indicator, and since 2001 in the city the ambitious program of gardening, during which inhabitants received Parc des Sports, Jardin des Lumières.
On the left coast, the flower park and also a big green zone on the bank of Garonne. On the right coast, and Parco Angeliques is implemented. Bordeaux Forest, 87 hectares, to whom about 50 hectares of lawns and ponds are added. Flower Park, 33 hectares. Park Brothel, 28 hectares. The Parco Angeliques Park is step-by-step created. As of 2013, its area was 10 hectares. The last stage should be completed in 2017. City Park, 14 hectares. Botanical Garden, Embankments of Garonne, 8 hectares together with a water mirror. Cultural events. Among the Massachusetts events held in Bordeaux, it is possible to mention Antiquarian Salon, January. Carnival of Two Coast, beginning of March. Festivity of Four Blazers, the last 3 weeks of October and the first 3 weeks of March on the area of Place de Quinconces. Event of an exhibition of works of the modern art in the city. Book Salon à Scale du Livre, in March/beginning of April. Festival of Short Films, Festival Coupe Court, April. International Fair Bordeaux, May. Folklore Chahots Festival, middle of June, quarter of Saint-Michel. International Salon of Wines and Hard Liquors of Vinexpo. The wine celebration is organized by even years within 4 days, Thursday through Sunday at the end of June. Fireworks on the area of the exchange. A river holiday and Vinexpo Salon in 2008. River holiday settles by odd years within 4 days, Thursday through Sunday at the end of June. Music and the Ships of the World. The Les Epicurials Festival, 2 weeks at the end of June. A Gastronomy and Concerts. European Festival of Short Films. Dances on Embankments. July-August on city embankments. International Festival of Women's Cinema, October. Confort Expo Exhibition, October. The exhibition of works of the modern art, Art Chartrons, is held twice a year, in the spring and in the fall. Christmas Market, December. Musical festivals. International Festival of Organ Music, International Festival of Classical Music. Bordeaux Congo Square Festival. Jazz Festival in Bordeaux. Rock Festival in Bordeaux. Sport. The city is well known for the football club de Girondins de Bordeaux, 6 times the becoming champion of France. The club holds house games at Matmut Atlantic Stadium. Also far. Write comments. Read comments. Interesting people will tell interesting stories. All of good mood and good luck.